All right. Good afternoon. It's 1:34. We're here for a special meeting of the Board of County Commissioners on August 2nd. Our topic, our one item of discussion is for the consideration of request by the interim assessor for the approval of adoption of the alternate protest and appeal procedure pursuant to CRS 39-5-122.7. We have the interim assessor, Mark Wadsworth, here with us. I'll hand it over to you or the county attorney, and I think we have maybe a letter to read into the record as well. But go ahead, Mark. Or Chris, who?
Yeah, either way. So just quick background on behalf of the assessor. So essentially there are two options for processing the appeals through the CBOE, the protest and appeal period. And Lake County had initially chosen to continue with the regular process, which requires everything to be done by August 5th, which is a Saturday, which would bump it to August the 7th, next Monday. However, because of a plethora of appeals that were filed and other unusual issues that arose, I petitioned late yesterday with the state to allow us to adopt the alternate procedure, which essentially extends the period of time for the CBOE to consider the appeals that have been filed, make adjustments in regards to those appeals as appropriate, as well as to address any broader other issues that have been discovered through the valuation process in order to help perhaps better align and bring the values more into perhaps what they should or would have been expected to be. And Mark can elaborate on that a little bit more. And the reason that I had to kind of petition the state for this is technically the code says that election needed to be made by May 1st. However, the state property tax division was somewhat inundated by requests from other counties based on the historical volume of protests that were filed this year and resulting appeals to allow late elections. And so they are willing to do that, but it's one of those things where they say, well, yes, you can go and elect it late, but they can't guarantee that if somebody decides they don't like the outcome or something, that there might not be a challenge to it. So technically we're outside the scope of the statute, but they are willing to accept, our request. And then as part of the code, it requires us to also give notice to the Board of Adjustment Appeals at the state and the Lake County District Court. So what I've done is I've drafted the notice letters to those two entities as well, in hopes that at the end of this meeting, if y'all decide to grant Assessor Wadsworth's request to adopt the alternate procedure, then we will get those out today. And it's my understanding there are like 8 other counties who have belatedly requested this lately, and the response from the Board of Adjustment Appeals has been merely saying thanks for letting us know. They haven't denied any of those requests as of yet. So my hope is we'd be able to do this. And I in talking through this with Joanne Groff with the, state property tax division, she's like, she was like, even though it's outside the statute, you have to look at it from the perspective of what harm would be done by allowing this late adoption. And frankly, I don't think there's any chance of harm. If anything, I think it will benefit the residents of Lake County, the property owners in Lake County, because it'll give you all the time you need to more thoroughly review and consider some of the appeals, as well as some of the information that Mr. Wadsworth is putting together in relation to the audit and such. And so, one thing, not only I encourage you to use this opportunity with the alternate procedure, not only for the appeals that have been filed, but also to perhaps consider if broader corrections need to be made in terms of with evaluation. If there, we've talked a little bit about if there are areas where you've seen pockets of issues and stuff. This will give Mr. Wadsworth the opportunity to do a deeper dive on those and perhaps make some broader corrections that'll benefit the community overall. So that's my initial pitch. And Mr. Wadsworth, please, chime in anything you want to add as to that request.
I think that you said that very, very well. The County Board of Equalization is just that. I do think that through the appeal process, there are areas and things that we've been able to discover that need to be equalized throughout the county, and this will give us the time that is needed to do that. And it is needed.
Can you guys remind us what that new timeline looks like?
It's,
Yeah, let me.
the last day is in November.
Yeah. Let me get to the. I can pull up. Let me get to the copy of the. Where is the
letter?
No, I'm looking for. I have a copy of the calendar. Is what I was looking for. That kind of lays out what the different time periods are for it. I know I had that. Here we go. Assessor's calendar. So with the alternate procedure, what this does is it allows you to essentially, it would allow new notices of determination based on the protest, if there were any, for the alternate protest period to be sent by August the 15th. But what it does is that it allows you to go on and have the hearings for the protest and such, the CBOE hearings, that you can effectively run those through November 1st if needed. And then at that point in time, November 21st would be the deadline for the assessor's office to file the abstract of assessment to the administrator. So what it does, I don't anticipate that y'all would necessarily need to take hearings through November 1st, but it does provide you with this extra period of time to not only look at the protest, but also, I mean, you haven't made any determinations yet with the appeals that have been filed and heard. So this will give you the opportunity to complete the hearings that are scheduled. We do have, I believe there might be a handful or so of folks that they've been trying to contact to schedule hearings that have advised that they submitted their appeal or something, but have not yet been scheduled. So I think that'll give time to kind of add in some extra hearing periods for those folks, and then allow you the opportunity to collect all the information you have through the appeals process and through Mr. Wadsworth's efforts at reviewing the valuations and whether, make recommendations as to whether any broader corrections need to be done, so that you get the full big picture without having to rush this week into making determinations on the appeals that you've heard. Okay. So it gives you more breathing room, and as I said earlier, I think it really serves the property owners in Lake County to take this opportunity, so that you can make sure, the bottom line is, I know I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I know y'all want to get this right, and I know Mr. Wadsworth wants to get this right and make sure that the information that's presented back to the property owners and the community is accurate and correct and reflects an equitable basis for the valuations in the county.
Sure. I would just offer to, based on, we've been collecting a list of things to chat about improving that overall process with Mark at the end of this current timeline, but as you kind of alluded to, Chris, and just offering as support, Mark, I think it's worth just explicitly saying in the meeting, we are not going to schedule hearings every day. I think it's worth you, taking that look and not communicating any openings, but waiting for you to do that auditing, assessing. I mean, we also are appointing an assessor in this period. So based on what your observations and suggestions would be from having gone through this process thus far, and then moving in, waiting to even offer any further protest hearings until you get your information.
Yeah, exactly. You guys have enough to do, and sort of like.
Yeah.
do it.
And so, yeah, the other thing I wanted to offer too is make it clear is that this doesn't open the protest or the appeal period. So folks cannot now file new appeals and such. This is just time for y'all to use. So this isn't going to open some new floodgates for folks who didn't appeal and decided, okay, now I get a second bite of the apple because this has been extended. So you don't have to do that. I did clarify that with the state because that was one of my concerns, is if we adopt this, are we all of a sudden going to have all the folks who didn't appeal and perhaps, heard that their neighbors are getting offered stipulations or what to open that? No, we do not have to reopen those appeal filings.
Very good.
Great. I don't have any other questions. I'm glad to take the time for you, for the office.
I don't have any questions either.
Mark, would you read that letter into the record, or I am happy to do that for you if you'd like?
No, I can do it.
Okay.
As interim assessor, Lake County, I respectfully request the Lake County Board of County Commissioners elect to have the County Board of Equalization use the alternate protest and appeal procedure to determine objections and protests concerning valuations of taxable property for the 2023 tax year as permitted under CRS 395122.7. And this allows the opportunity to fully address and process the volume of appeals received, make appropriate adjustments to valuations to ensure that valuations can be certified by the CBOE as required.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Friedler, so you've joined us. Do you have any questions before we entertain a motion?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm sorry for joining late. Just having self-service issues on I-70. But no, I think that makes sense, and I caught the last few questions, so I do not have any further questions.
You want to take a stab at a motion?
I can. I'm trying to find the
Oh.
letter. So I will move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the request of the interim assessor to elect the County Board of Equalization to use the alternate protest period and appeal procedure to determine objections and protests for the 2023 tax year as permitted under CRS 39-5-122.7.
Okay, I'll second. Any further discussion?
None for me, thank you.
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Great, all right, and that's all that was on our agenda. Will you file that then, Mark, with the
Yeah.
state?
So I've provided Mark with the letters and the email addresses that they can go to, so he can get those out today. And that's all we should need at this point in time. They will obviously respond back to him with any comments, questions, or concerns. And so we'll just wait to hear back from them. Otherwise, no news is good news, and we'll just proceed with the alternate procedure.
So sorry if you had asked this earlier. Do we need to send out some kind of mass email to all the people in the protest? Q who we're expecting to hear, Friday or Monday, just so we don't get deluged by.
No, that essentially there's no requirement of individual notice for that. I think it would be appropriate to have something posted on the website, and perhaps I see Sarah's online with us too. Perhaps she can work with Mark to put together a statement to be posted on the website, and perhaps sent to maybe a press release to the Herald, so it can go in the paper next week, so people will at least, there'll be opportunities for that information.
Well, Chris, I'm sorry. I wonder if it's actually not better to use all the contacts we have in that scheduling software so that we just target the protesters that we have talked to, and is it, I mean, based on Mark's determination, some of those stipulated values, we can still send, I mean, we have them.
Yeah.
With
There-
those.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just didn't want to add something else to the assessor's plate that's not legally required. So, but yes, if there's an opportunity to send them out, just if there's a group email that can be sent out to folks, and I would only send it to the folks who filed appeals, not to
Right.
everybody who protested, just the ones that have filed appeals, just to let them know that the county has adopted the alternate protest period, and that they would be, you know, that this means that the determinations,
Maybe
you know,
delay.
you have
Yeah,
a,
those final determinations will be delayed.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, yes, thank you for that clarification, the appeals, it's important to distinguish. That can be done through the software and
Through
that
the-
sign up with all the contacts that we've had with folks so far, correct, Mark, or are you
Yeah, but I
concerned
think we
about?
have an email for everybody
Yeah,
that went to the CBOE, so we
okay,
should be able to do that relatively easy.
okay, excellent. And then, yeah, we can wait until the state gives us a response. Oops.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. I wouldn't send it out today. I'd wait to see if we get any, and I'm not worried, the district court, I'm not worried about them doing anything with it, but I would like to get, Cassie Stokes is the administrator for the Board of Adjustment Appeals, the state that the letter will go to, and it would be good to wait until we get a response back from her. I will say that Joanne Groff told me that she shared her email with Ms. Stokes. So she is anticipating the request, and that Ms. Stokes told Ms. Groff that she is interested in helping make it work for Lake County residents. So I don't expect any type of an objection.
Okay.
Great, okay. Thank you. Anything else? No?
From me?
Not for me.
Good.
Great, all right
Right.
then.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for letting me put this on today. I know it was a last minute request and all, but I appreciate the opportunity to get this teed up for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Chris.
you.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, we'll sign off.
All right.